Use hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. From NBA Talk 21, Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark to the Kings for Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield. This one's interesting. I don't think the money works because Buddy Hield makes a lot of money. I actually kind of like that idea because Hield's kind of had a down year. Bagley's a young, promising player. Although I'll say this, I think Jaren Jackson's pretty untouchable by the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't think the money works anyway there. NBA Talk 21, I'm calculating on the NBA trade machine here, but Jaren Jackson is a pretty untouchable commodity for the Memphis Grizzlies. Why not? Next question here. If the Timberwolves include Jarrett Culver on the trade, would the Warriors accept or not? That would make things more interesting because Jarrett Culver, a lottery pick from last year, he kind of been up and down with Minnesota. I liked him a lot coming out of Texas Tech, a good defensive guard who has some isolation ability. Not a great three-point shooter, but I think he can improve in that area. Certainly a decent creator. I don't think the Timberwolves are trading Culver. I think that's the main thing there. They don't want to trade Culver. They'd much rather trade a pick than their pick from last year altogether. Zoe God, DSJ for Kuzma. The money obviously works there. They're both still on their rookie contracts. But why would the Lakers do that? You better throw two picks if you're going to. The money actually does not work as I'm calculating. It's close. You could throw in another salary dump piece to make things work there, like a guy on a minimum contract. But again, you're not trading DSJ or Kuzma for DSJ if you're the Lakers. You'd want at least 2 first-round picks in that case. Dennis Smith Jr., I wish the best for the guy. I was rooting for him in Dallas, but he just has not figured things out in the NBA. Kareem Youssef, were the Rockets wrong to trade Capella? TBD. I mean, let's see what happens if they bring in a center or not. As we're filming right now, they have not. They did get Robert Covington, the deal, who I like, but you got to get an adequate big man in there. The Rockets don't have one, guys. If they're putting out a starting 5 right now, it's something like Harden, Westbrook, Covington, PJ Tucker, and I don't even know. Is Austin Rivers? Are they playing that small? I have no idea. They traded Gerald Green. I don't know who their 5th starting guy is. I know recently they played the Mavs when Capella was out. They didn't play a guy over 6'6" the entire 48 minutes. No team had done that in over 30 years. Got to wait and see what big they get Kareem, but as of now, I did not like how that trade turned out for the Houston Rockets. So keep using hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. Also, go ahead and subscribe to us here on Chat Sports. We will be live during the entire NBA trade deadline. We'll get live a couple hours before things get rolling. We'll stay live through the deadline, have some shows afterward on the channel as well. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Hit that big red button and turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live and when all of our shows hit the channel. From Fabio, any news on Chicago? Do you think they're going to do something? I did read they're not going to trade Zach LaVine, which I think is a very smart move. I know there was an idea maybe you can get something from LaVine. I like LaVine. I like the Bulls. I know they're not winning a ton right now, but they kind of remind me of what Philadelphia was trying to do a few years ago. Now, that hadn't turned into a ton of success, but they've got young talent, and they're building there with guys like LaVine, Wendell Carter, Kobe White, and some of those other guys. Be patient, Bulls fans. Things should turn into something in the next couple of years. From Jair, do you think the Mavs can pull a trade? They can. I think they're limited on how big of a trade they made. Obviously, they already traded for Willie Cauley-Stein to help replace Dwight Powell. He's played a little bit so far, still trying to learn Rick Carlisle's system. You know, they were in the mix for Robert Covington. That ship has sailed as he is heading down to Houston as a part of that 4-team blockbuster trade. If the Mavs make a trade, it's going to be a low bar trade, for a bench wing or something like that. Maybe they get involved in the buyout market for a guy like Andre Iguodala if he doesn't get traded. I don't think they'll trade for Iggy, but they could get in the mix for somebody. I don't see it happening. If you want more news on the Dallas Mavericks, my guy Jimmy Crowther did a video earlier today. It's up on the channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Just go scroll through the videos. It should be near the top. Chris Jones, appreciate what you did for the Chiefs, by the way, on Super Bowl Sunday. What is a realistic trade option for the Lakers? Well, Kyle Kuzma is their best chip. The problem is he doesn't cost that much, so if they're trying to bring in a guy like Marcus Morris, you can't really use just Kuzma. You got to find a way to match salaries there. Bogdanovic is a guy that they're interested in from the Kings. You could throw Kuzma and one of those middle-tier veterans they have, maybe Rondo and another piece could help get that done if you're trying to match salaries. I know Quinn Cook makes $3 million. Bogdanovic is around $9 million. That could be an option if you add another player in there, but I think they're going to be more busy on the buyout market, Chris. I think that's more realistic for the Lakers. Okay, Mason, what's the biggest player you think will get traded? Is D'Angelo Russell going to get traded? It kind of feels like he's the biggest one in play at this point. Clint Capella might end up being the biggest one, and he already got traded. I'm 50-50 on D'Lo. I tend to think that the Warriors will stand pat and keep him and maybe monitor a trade in the offseason or next year. So I'm actually going to go Capella. I think the biggest trade piece has maybe already happened. I will go with the Rockets trading Capella as a part of that 4-team trade. 6 of 1, loyal watcher. We appreciate that. Hashtag NBA. Should the Raptors be looking to buy? Run it back, baby. Well, I keep making jokes on myself because about 3 weeks ago I did an NBA trade rumors video when there were reports surfacing that maybe it's time for the Raptors to build around Pascal Siakam. Well, then the Raptors won 11 games in a row. So I definitely don't think they're going to sell some of their veterans like Kyle Lowry and Ibaka. Maybe Gasol. If they could upgrade at center, that could be an option. But I don't think they'll buy or sell too high either way. I think they could buy low, maybe get a benched piece or something like that. Got Kareem again. Who will win the 2020 NBA title? Great question. If you want to bet on this, you can do it at BetDSI. These are the top 5 favorites as we sit right now, subject to change, of course, after the trade deadline passes. I'm going to go with the Clippers. That was my pick before the season. I know what Kawhi brings in the playoffs. Paul George is a great sidekick. It reminds me of the Miami Heat duo with LeBron and D. Wade. And then, yeah, they don't have a Chris Bosh, but they're 3 and 4 guys coming off the bench with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell. Pretty damn good bench unit. I like the Clippers. If they add Marcus Morris, they are my favorite by far. If you want to bet on any of this stuff, chatsports.com/bet will get you to the BetDSI site. Use that promo code NBA120. I put down $100 before the NBA season. Got 120 for free, hashtag math there, and I got plenty of money left over. That is what BetDSI is willing to do for you. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code NBA120. Get some more Q&A going here from Jeremiah. Will Alec Burks get traded at the deadline? I think he is an underrated trade piece for the Warriors. He's averaging a career high in points. He's shooting it great from 3, 37-38%. I don't think they'll get a first-round pick for him, but could you get like an early second-round pick possibly? Maybe that's in play. Like, for example, the Dallas Mavericks, who ironically have the Warriors' second-round pick, which is going to be an early pick, could they bring in Burks to send back that pick, which will be early in the second round? I think that could be an option there. So I think Burks is definitely a trade candidate. Not sure if it will actually happen. PecanPie9, using hashtag NBA. Marcus Morris for Landry Shamet and a first rounder. Money doesn't work there. You got to throw Harkless has to be in the trade. That's the bottom line. And there's no reason not to take that if you're the Knicks, because he's an expiring contract. You can either buy him out or you're not winning this year anyway. Teams who aren't winning take on, expiring contracts all the time. But I actually threw that out there recently and got grilled. Apparently, Landry Shamet is some untouchable commodity. I don't agree with that. But, you throw Mo Harkless in that trade, that absolutely works, Pecan Pie. Why not? With another question, if the T-Wolves trade Wiggins, Culver, 2 firsts, could the Warriors accept? Yeah, they would accept that, because then you're trading 2 firsts and a lottery pick from last year in Jarrett Culver for D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, you get Andrew Wiggins, but it's not like Wiggins is just the worst player in the league. It's an awful contract, but if you're getting 3 first-round picks essentially, with Culver being one of those, I mean, I think that's certainly something worth considering. If you guys think the Warriors should take this offer, type Y for yes, type in for no. We got Bryant. Appreciate the Kobe in your picture, by the way. Shouting out Kobe Bryant there. Zaire Smith, Raul Neto, and a second-round pick for Davis Bertans. Guys, the Wizards aren't trading Bertans without a first-round pick in return. The guy's had a really good season for Washington. And I like Zaire Smith's potential, but we just haven't really seen it turn into anything. Played 1 year at Texas Tech with Jarrett Culver. Just hasn't done much in the NBA. Dealt with some injuries last year. Hadn't done much this year. Neto, career backup guard, and a second-round pick in the NBA. That's not doing it for Bertans, who is a lethal three-point shooter. Dorito Chip Gamer. Where do you think D'Lo will go, and where do you think he should go? It's a good question. I still think, unless it's like what our friend just offered, 2 firsts and who was it, Jarrett Culver for D'Angelo Russell, unless they get something like that, I would keep him. The Warriors have all the leverage. He's been great this year, and there's this idea that he can't fit with Steph and Klay. Well, how do we know that? We haven't seen them play together. He's in the first year of a 4-year deal. Run it back, get Steph and Klay healthy along with Draymond next year. See if he fits. If he doesn't, guess what? You can trade him next year as well. Dominic Coles, is Morris the best trade for the Clippers, or Kelly Oubre and Aaron Baines? They can't trade for Oubre and Baines. Too much money there. That would be a nice duo to add to that bench for the Clippers. I think it's Morris or bust for the Clippers. I really do. I think they've eyed Marcus Morris. They like his toughness. They like his versatility. They feel like he can start or be another piece off that bench. If they don't get Morris, I would expect the Clippers to be pretty quiet. How many trades do you guys think will take place between now and the trade deadline? 5.5 trades is what we've set the over-under at. Type O for over, type U for under. I'll get a couple of shout-outs in before we keep the Q&A going here. 5.5 trades before the trade, during the NBA trade deadline. We got an over from Dorito Chip Gamer, Bryant with the O, Jay Lewis with the O. Lots of overs coming in. I agree, just because, keep in mind, a ton of minuscule trades happen during the NBA trade deadline, like just cash consideration stuff, G League type of players getting moved, trying to free up roster spots. We saw the Mavs do that a couple of weeks ago so they could go get Willie Cauley-Stein. So I think there will be more than 5.5. Do I think there will be 5 or more big trades? Probably not. Maybe more like 2 or 3 in that regard. But keep the O's, keep the U's coming in. Comment section. NBA Talk 21. Sabonis to Hawks for John Collins. Sabonis is an all-star for the first time. He's not moving. Now, could Miles Turner move? I think that's very much a possibility because Sabonis and Miles Turner don't really fit together in today's NBA. I like John Collins a lot. I don't think they'll move him. I think they want to build around Trae Young, Capella, and Collins. Need to get some shooting around those guys in Atlanta. So I don't see this happening. I think Sabonis is untouchable right now. He is really starting to mold into an all-star caliber player. Clay Putthoff, is Holiday the piece the Nuggets need? I'm going to assume you're talking about Jrue Holiday there because Aaron Holiday's been linked to rumors as well. He'd be great. He costs a lot, so you would have to give up quite a bit to get him. Also, keep in mind the latest reports on Jrue Holiday is that the Pelicans are pretty content with keeping him. They're playing better basketball. They're not out of the mix for the playoffs this year, and all their key players are under contract through at least next season, so they're probably going to run it back with Jrue Holiday. Adiko Sealy, where will Kevin Love go in a trade? He's not going to get traded. I mean, his contract's just not very tradable. I don't see Kevin Love getting moved by Cleveland. They would like to move him. Maybe he's more of an off-season trade candidate. I don't see something happening before the deadline. Got Nathan Devanaboya? Boyina? That's a tough one to pronounce there. Let me know how to pronounce that one. I'll try and fix it for you. Do you think the Knicks will make any moves? They're trying to. I mean, they want to get D'Angelo Russell. They want to get Kuzma. They're connected to every player who's been talked about at the NBA trade deadline. It doesn't really make sense to buy if you're the Knicks, but for whatever reason, they're trying to get D'Angelo Russell. They're interested in him. They would like to acquire Kyle Kuzma. They've got some trade chips, Marcus Morris being their best one, but Knicks aren't winning anytime soon. D'Angelo Russell doesn't really change that. That makes them from the second or third worst team in the East to the fifth worst team in the East. It really doesn't make a big difference. They don't have a very good roster right now. I don't like what the Knicks are doing at all. Dolan's an idiot. He's running a really bad franchise. You know what's not an idiot? Anyone who gets their loved one flowers on Valentine's Day. That's what I'm doing. Chatsports.com/flowers. Our partner Pro Flowers is going to give you 15% off of flowers, cookie gifts, brownies. We got all kinds of stuff. Look at this bouquet that producer Nancy found before the show. Chatsports.com/flowers is the place to go. Producer Nancy finding all these great images for today's show, and they look that good too. Chatsports.com/flowers, 15% off to take advantage of all of these deals. And by the way, they'll ship it to your loved one on Valentine's Day, so don't worry about that. They'll take care of all of it for you guys. Evan Rosales using hashtag NBA. What's your Spurs trade packages? I mean, I think they're on the fence on what to do with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. I think they would be willing to move both those guys. That's a very proud franchise, though. They've made the playoffs, I think it's 21 years in a row or something like that, 22 maybe, and they're still in the mix for the 8 seed. Now, you got to face reality at some point, and the Spurs are not a contender right now. If you can get a lot of young assets for either DeRozan or Aldridge or both, I think you should do that. They also both cost a lot, so I'm not really sure what the best packages are for either of those guys. I would certainly like to see them move at least one of them, though. Jay Lewis, Dallas should trade Lee 2 second-round picks, I think that's what he's saying there, and take the protection off the 2023 first-round pick for Marcus Morris. So an unprotected 2023 first. I think that pick is going to the, isn't that part of the Porzingis trade? 2023 first? I believe it is. Unprotected. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Thank you, Tom. That still feels kind of like a lot for Marcus Morris, who's expiring after this year. I wouldn't hate it. He would fit nice, catching passes from Luka Doncic and shooting wide open threes. That would certainly help, but I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't know if the Knicks would really do that. I mean, eventually that pick will be unprotected down the line, so I don't see that happening. I think the Knicks can get better offers elsewhere, namely the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's talk to Dakota. Could the Celtics trade for Miles Turner? I think the Pacers should move Turner, and not because they're not a contender this year, but if they could get a shooter, like, what if the Celtics are like, hey, we'll give you Marcus Smart, and I can't remember who the other piece would be to help that. Enes Kanter. I think that works. Tom's going to calculate that for me. Enes Kanter and Marcus Smart for Miles Turner. I think that's about right for the money there if you do those two pieces for Miles Turner. I think Turner's making something like 18, 19 million. Smart is making 11 or 12, and Kanter's making 5, I think, somewhere in that range. Maybe the Celtics have to throw in a minimum piece on top of that, but I think something like that could work for Miles Turner and the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, they need a big. Yeah, and confirm, that trade would work. Smart and Enes Kanter for Miles Turner? Who says no? I don't. I think that should happen.